Hi, I'm Reverend Rodrigo Solano, the minister at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Olinda, and I'm here to bring the church closer to you. At the crossroads of Olinda Side Road and 5th Concession in Ruthven, Ontario, you can see the cornerstone of our church building. That stone was laid down just over 139 years ago, and the building has housed our church for most of our church's life. That building is significant, and we will celebrate it in due time. But as we breathe, we know that our church transcends our dear building. As we witness at this moment, while our church gathers in this virtual space. Putting the technology aside for a moment, this is not all that different from the way our church's founders gathered 140 years ago, as they founded it even without something that could be called a permanent home. As I have said for the past 8 months, even before the building's foundations were laid, our church was there, founded on something even stronger than stone or wood, our faith that love is the most powerful force for good. So where does this faith come from? Already this year, we have reviewed some of the historical roots of our tradition, and into this year, we will continue remembering and honoring the past that has led to how we live our faith today. So I won't do an extensive historical review here, but would like to recall a sense of our roots. As we've talked about this year, the foundations of a universalist theology that saw divine love as all-encompassing were already a part of the early Christian church, and for a while may have been in fact the prevailing understanding of Christianity before being declared heretical in the 6th century. The resurgence to a universalism that we know today comes from English religious refugees and continued to emerge into New England as well as Pennsylvania, where universalist thought permeated throughout different denominations, including the Society of Friends, which we often call Quakers, and some Anabaptists. Many folks, in questioning their theology, came to the conclusion that the most powerful love there can be is the one that ultimately accepts everyone, even if it requires tremendous patience and calls for extensive self-reflection. John Murray was one of these folks, and last month, a place named in its honor, Murray Grove, hosted a virtual service commemorating 250 years of that universalist route in North America, which we were able to join. Link in the description and on our web service. There have been shifts in our understanding, our professing, and our living of this faith that we are founded on. To paraphrase Jane Eynard in her latest account of our history, the universal has been writ ever larger, and the ism has been writ ever smaller, so that from ancient Christian roots, we understand and live a faith that seeks to transcend religious labels for the sake of a common vision of love that is accessible to all. The other U in our current name, Unitarianism, has some of its earliest roots in Transylvania, now part of present-day Hungary, where King Sigismund heeded advice that a religious harmony called for understanding among many faiths. So from Old England to New England, Pennsylvania and Transylvania, folks who have refused to be tied down by rigid doctrine have searched for a theology that will invite deep connection with all who will seek it. And that is a call that our church's founders heard when they established an intentional community that placed their faith in an all-encompassing understanding of love without exceptions, formally founding this church, this community of fellowship, on November 10th, 1880. They gathered as they could until Big Mike Fox, who subscribed to this approach, was so moved that he donated a portion of his farm to offer a more stable home for this already founded church. This was commemorated in the stone laid down on September 21st, 1881. Looking back over 140 years, some things look eerily familiar with that time when we were founded. Just as our founders first met by sharing their homes, each of our homes currently offer the physical walls that house our church. Starting out with 23 members and an eventual attendance between 24 and 35 around the turn of the 20th century, our group is now just slightly larger. Also from the beginning, there have been occasional worries about money and the prospects of our community sustainability. And through those worries, we have prevailed through the perseverance and generosity of members and other supporters who find fellowship, knowledge, and inspiration among all who seek truth, to live responsibly and courageously, and be of service to humanity. Still, some things look different. In addition to the morning service, we find other ways to be church, such as the coffee house hour that was introduced by Reverend Conrad Dippo, which continues when we do meet in person, and which we also honor in the virtual space of our online services. Other legacies may be more subtle. The fact that I join you today from my home near Lake Erie, rather than the parsonage at the crossroads, is a legacy of Reverend Martha Munson. Looking at Jane Innard's latest account of our history, I have to say that I was humbled when I saw my name as part of the history of this church. And what struck me even more is all the other names that were mentioned. Names which often include people who I can see on our morning services, gathering together. In fact, many of the names that I call out on Sunday mornings, acknowledging their contributions to our Sunday services, are names that often come up in these pages. There are also names that I don't immediately recognize, as well as names that aren't there, but which are there as part of our history. In her latest account, Jane Innard remarks, quote, "It is not possible to name all of the people who volunteer their name and talents, their time and their talents at Olinda. Our volunteers are many and greatly valued. Indeed, everyone who attends church services is a volunteer who helps to keep Olinda a vibrant church," unquote. My friends, you who join in this reflection, wherever you might be today, make part of the living history of our Church of Olinda. A celebration of our church is a celebration of you. A commemoration of our church is a commemoration of all who have gone before us, named and unnamed. And contemplation about our heritage is also contemplation about the heritage we seek to leave for those who are still with us and those who come after us. My friends, 140 years may feel like an intimidating amount of heritage to contend with. But you continue to co-create this heritage as you embody the faith that this church was founded on. My predecessor, Reverend Christine Hellman, invites us to, quote, "lean into its heritage for strength and insight," unquote. Recently, I heard a speech that invoked an inspiring thought: to not just keep the faith, but to spread the faith. My friends, We spread our faith by our words and by our actions. And our words and our actions are the product of our personal and community efforts to contemplate, to commemorate, and to celebrate that which is most dear to us. Our values, which stem from a foundation on the power of love. My friends, this year and beyond, let us contemplate, let us commemorate, and let us celebrate this foundation that we may keep and spread this faith. So may it be. Blessed be. In solidarity, amen.